Hi guys, welcome back to I'll Read What She's Reading. I'm Michaela.
I'm Reggie.
And I'm Kennedy.
And today we're going to be talking about our book club book, The Favorites by Layne Fargo.
Layne Fargo.
Layne Fargo. Sorry, my bad. And it's going to be an exciting one.
Mm-hmm.
Lots to discuss.
I think there is going to be a lot to discuss. So first things first is we're going to say our ratings.
Yeah.
So, anyone want to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it like a 4 or 4.25. I honestly, someone commented on, I don't know if it was one of my updates or I think it was one of my updates because I haven't written a review yet. And they were like, you are gobbling this book up. Well, first of all, because I was on vacation. So I didn't have kids interrupting me. I had nowhere else to be. It was great. So, but it was so bingeable. I love the short chapters. It was such an easy read. But I also feel like I truly did gobble it up because it was very gripping. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time and I was very, very invested. I feel like I really thought it was going to be a 5-star read for me up until the last few chapters of the book. And then I was very let down by the ending. And I don't really know why, and we can kind of get into that a little bit later. But I think one reason why I really liked it is I haven't read anything like this in a while. And it felt very refreshing to read something that wasn't strictly fantasy or strictly just a rom-com. I liked that it had some it was dramatic. I liked the sports element to it, as well as the messy romance. And I also feel like I have a very visual brain when I am reading books, and it was really fun. I'm not a figure skater. I don't skate. I can't even skate for 2 feet in front of me. I hate ice skating, but I felt it was so fun to try to imagine what I thought the costumes would look like and the choreography, and also going and listening to the music that they were dancing to for their performances and everything. I just thought it was so fun visually to be in my brain. And also the documentary element to it was very fun as someone who's a videographer and I think of things super visually, like I said. It was cool to imagine how I thought that would be. And so, yeah, I really did think it was going to be 5-star for me, but the ending made me bump it down to 4. So, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. You go next.
You want me to go
We'll
next?
go down the aisle.
Okay. I still haven't quite decided what I'm going to rate it. On one hand, I want to rate it 5 stars because I had such a visceral reaction while reading the book. But on the other hand, I want to rate it 2 stars because it's everything I hate in a book. Legit. Everything I hate. But it works somehow. I don't know. But I think it's been a hot second for me to have that kind of reaction while reading a book that I have to applaud her. So I feel like I have to meet somewhere in the middle, 3.75, maybe 4. I don't know. It was a great book, and I think it's very unique and different, especially for ice skating, because I feel like most ice skating books are romance books that have some kind of hockey player and the typical hockey player kind of thing. And so this was very different. But there was not one character I liked in the book. Not one character, except for one, actually. And that's Garrett. But I hated everyone. They were so unlikable in every aspect. So it was really funny because a lot of people were like, wait, why am I kind of liking her? I'm like, that's crazy because I can't relate. I don't like this character. So I don't know. Maybe 3.75 I
Yeah,
probably
like a love-hate relationship.
no, literally, it's like I hate it, I love it. I hate it and I love it. Love hate. Anyways.
Very fair.
Before I give my rating, I for sure knew that Reggie would like the book, but I genuinely, Michaela, when we picked this book, I said this multiple times. Michaela's gonna hate this book. Michaela's gonna hate this book. So I'm glad that you had a decently good time reading it, because I really was concerned she was going to absolutely hate it. I'm gonna rate it 4 stars. Combination of honestly both Michaela and Reggie's thoughts. I thought it might be a 5-star read until the end, until I felt like the book took this huge left turn when we were getting this weird true crime-esque flowers and the thorns in the boots and the blood. I was like, okay, wait, I was not seeing this book taking this turn. It kind of took me out of the book, and I'll share another reason why it's not 5 stars when we share our least favorites, which I have a feeling it will be similar to what these guys think. But I updated in our Fable group. We're all here. I said something along the lines of like, we're all here reading this book before it gets announced as a TV show, because I think it's inevitable that this gets turned into some type of TV show or movie, especially with the success that Daisy Jones and the Six had, just because I think it has a similar feel. I would also be interested to have Michaela read Carrie Soto is Back, because part of the reason we chose this book was because people were saying it was a mix between Daisy Jones and the Six and Magnolia Parks. And while I see the toxic relationships having a similarity to Magnolia Parks, I think it's way more like Carrie Soto is Back, with this unlikable female main character that will do whatever it takes to win. Ironically, that was one of my favorite parts, because as a washed up athlete, I can feel her wanting to do whatever it takes to be the best in her sport. I also think visually, yes, was amazing to picture, why I think another reason it would be a really good TV show. Also, ironically, I didn't really love the interview questions at the end. It kind of took me out of the story a little bit.
Yeah.
Which was weird. But yeah, it was just really refreshing. I honestly would love more books with celebrity drama, because I love pop culture and celebrity gossip, that kind of thing. And I would love to read more books like this. So if you're listening and you have more recommendations that are similar, please send them my way. Yeah, it was fun. It was good. And it was a nice change of pace.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it has a little bit of something for everyone. Maybe not fantasy readers, but other than that, I think it's a recommendation you could recommend to a lot of people. So 4 stars.
I kind of hate that people are comparing it to Magnolia Parks.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything
It's not.
anything close.
It's messy and they're very toxic people, but that's literally the only comparison
That's where
I feel
the
like you can
comparison
give.
is.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
Is that.
And not to compare the two, but part of the reason I love Magnolia Parks is because Jessa writes in this beautiful, symbolic way. Not to say that this book didn't have that, but it was I felt like it was pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
So
it very much was. The conversations were like, I wouldn't say there was anything that really had deep conversations. Once again, a lot of this could have been solved by a conversation. But that's besides the point, and I know that wouldn't have made an entertaining book. But yeah, anyways. I like your thoughts a lot.
I think it's definitely a polarizing book.
Yeah.
You either really like it or you really hate it. And to say, I mean, every character was unlikable, 110%, but I think that's the whole point. And sometimes it's fun to read a book where you hate everybody in it for some reason. But
so we're reading these from our Fable.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun to see everyone's like reactions and stuff. And I think it's especially fun in Fable because you can comment on specific chapters and straight up give spoilers.
Yeah.
Unlike in Goodreads, like you don't want to like update your progress and like I can't believe so and so just died or so and so is pregnant. Like you can't do that on Goodreads where you can do that on Fable. And it's really, really fun. So
yeah.
anyways, continue.
Okay. So Katie left a review, 5 stars, and said, huge TJR vibes. This hooked me right away from the beginning with the documentary interview style writing. I found the ice skating hard to picture at first, but I now consider myself an ice skating girly. I found myself wishing I could YouTube the performances, but alas, it is yet another fictional story I have fallen for. Also, the tea. The drama was piping hot. I enjoyed the ending, unpredictable, which I enjoyed. So, if any of you listening haven't read a book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, that's who she's referring to in this review. And I know Michaela is a huge fan of her books, which is totally fine. I personally really like her books just because they're really refreshing from like how I was saying that this book was for me. So yeah, if you really like this book and you haven't read Daisy Jones and the Six, you'd probably really like it. It gives very similar vibes because of the documentary style writing and just the, drama. But I will say I felt like this was definitely a more gripping story to me than like a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. And Kennedy compared this to Carrie Soto is Back, which I can definitely see, but I felt like this book had a lot more to it than just like when I read Carrie Soto is Back, I mean, maybe if I read it again, I'd feel differently. But to me, it was strictly just like, I want to win and I play tennis. Whereas I felt like there was a little bit more to this one. I don't know. Obviously, there's still other things in Carrie Soto's Back, but I feel like I can see why people compare this book to a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I love that you feel like you're an ice skating girly now because when I tell you, I sat on my phone and watched ice skating videos for like an hour and a half after I finished this book.
We'll have to share the ones that Michaela sent in our group chat.
Oh my gosh.
They were so good.
I've always loved watching the Olympics for the ice skating. And
ice skating and gymnastics.
Yes. Yeah. It was so fun to watch. And then also to like go listen, like I was listening this morning to The Last Time by Taylor Swift and Gary Lightbody all morning. And I was just in my feels and I was just trying to imagine what the choreography was like. I want to know if any figure skaters have read this book and have choreographed a dance routine to that song because I would love that so much.
I will say it kept mentioning Twizzies, right? Is that what they would say? Eventually, I caved and just looked it up because I was like, I have no idea what this means. But yeah, the figure skating.
With their hips and then
Yeah, it's so good. So I loved that you commented on that because I think we were all in a very similar boat with that. And then we can maybe get into this later, but she said that she thought the ending was unpredictable. Did you guys feel like the ending was unpredictable? We can get into more of that in a little bit, but
say yes and no.
Yeah. Yes and no.
Yeah. I'd say yes and no as well.
Okay.
Anyways.
Also, to kind of like, this is kind of a little bit of a side. Maybe I'll save it after. Just don't let me forget.
Okay.
About the end?
No. This is like, it's related, but it's not specifically about the book.
Okay.
Okay. So this one's from Liddy. She rated it 5 stars and she said, this book made me so anxious. Same girl.
Mm-hmm.
It made me so anxious.
Mm-hmm.
I was taken back to my sports era and the anxious feelings of about to like start a game or about to like start a race or whatever. Really, it just brought me back. And I was like, this book is making me feel some kind of way. That I like, it's like a feeling that you love and you hate at the same time. Like you kind of want to vomit, pee, poop.
Yep. Yep.
All at the same time.
Yep.
Anyways, let me continue. But I loved every moment of it. I was expecting this to be more of a typical sports romance, but it turned out very different than what I expected. But that's why I loved it. The drama, the toxicity, the romance, I felt like I couldn't put it down. The ending of every chapter made me want to keep reading. I loved that review. It also helped that the endings of the chapters were so short, which was so nice.
Yes, so nice.
It's not even a very long book, but it had 92 82 chapters, something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So,
Okay, this is from Tracy. She rated it 3.5 stars. And she said, I enjoyed this book, but not sure what the hype is all about. I kept hearing that it was like Daisy Jones and the Magnolia Park series. I personally would not give readers that much of an expectation. I agree. I felt like my expectations were a little bit higher. Not that it didn't let me down because I still rated it 4 stars, but I think going into it thinking that does do this book a disservice. Despite it not living up to that, it was a fun read and the audiobook made it even more enjoyable. I listened to, I think, 3 chapters on audio, and it was really, really good. Full cast. The audiobook was done very, very well.
Elias's voice made me laugh. I loved it.
The last half had me constantly shocked. These ice skaters are ruthless. All in all, I'm glad I read it and got to experience the fierceness of Katarina. Yeah, so I think there literally was, I feel like with our book club books, usually it's very, everybody kind of rates it similarly, but this one I would say is probably our most polarizing book that we've done in a while.
Yeah.
There were a few 2 stars, there were a few 5 stars, best book they will read in 2025. But yeah.
I feel like a common theme I noticed in the reviews, and I don't know if we want to jump into our dislikes
Yeah, let's do
now,
it.
was that the ending really changed people's reviews on this book. I noticed like
That was me.
there were probably 2 or 3 reviews on here, and I think all of us included, that felt like the last like 15% of the book just, I don't know. It was, like we said, what we were expecting, but also not at the same time. I personally feel like the character, I don't really know how to articulate
really
my thoughts.
out of character for
Yes.
all of them.
Yes.
Well, and almost it was like, you know, we had for example, Kat's character arc and character development. She was so ruthless, and then it felt like with the flip of a switch, she all of a sudden wasn't that way. I just felt like her character arc was a little bit too rushed for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, my thoughts are kind of all over the place when it comes to the end, but it was so weird to me that Bella gets pregnant and then she gives birth to this child, but she calls her Aunt Kat, but Kat and Heath are like kind of together. At one point she was called her stepmom, and then at one point she was called her aunt. The pregnancy thing just really honestly threw me for a loop.
I was so angry because first of all, Kat tells her nothing's happening anymore.
Yeah.
And then
they bang in August and she gets pregnant.
Yes. But then this is what also really just pissed me off is that Kat just seemed totally okay with it.
Yes.
I was like, wait.
That's
You're
the reason
telling
she
me
left in the first place.
that your best friend says like, we're fine now. Everything's good. Like nothing's happening anymore. Goes behind your back, still gets pregnant with his baby. And then you and Heath are just like, you know what? Like, all's forgiven. We'll just kind of be this kind of like throuple-ish, but not really. It just felt so strange to me. And I would have really liked a more like clear ending. It's not like I was expecting a happy ending necessarily, but I felt like either they needed to have some like a clear break from each other with like maybe some like fun little teasing kind of epilogue, but I was thinking it needed to be like a clean cut from each other, or it needed to be like, let's see these two become the best and stay together. I feel like she was trying to meet somewhere in the middle with it, but I didn't like how it happened. It didn't feel, I was just screaming at my book because I was like, why is she not upset?
Well, and then also what I don't understand is then Kat and Heath have this kiss during the Olympics and they're kind of back together, but Bella's okay with that. It just was so weird to me. And honestly kind of gave Challengers vibes where they're just like all okay with each other sleeping with each other. The ending just didn't make sense to me. And I also kind of hated how there was this paragraph in the epilogue where her and Heath were on again, off again for the years to come. They were on and off the entire time.
Yeah,
and I'm
that's
like, can you guys just make a decision? After all of this, you still don't know. You're still not.
Yeah. I think it was very cut and dry, and I understand the reason for that being because it wouldn't have been messy, but there needed to have been a conversation with all
Absolutely.
three of them to kind of like, I think the readers needed the conversation to have happened.
Mhm.
And I feel like there was, because I feel like she did these jumping points where they were like, okay, they skated, they trained, all this stuff. And I'm like, but I feel like we're missing all of these really important conversations that you're probably having
Mhm.
about like, you're working on building trust together. And the ending, once again, I feel like was very rushed, but everything
Yes.
else leading up to it wasn't.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't like feeling in the dark.
Yeah.
I felt like it should have been like a light bulb moment for all of us to be like, oh, I see why she did that, or I see, and I didn't necessarily get that. Like, one thing I'm really hung up on is the fact, like, I don't feel like I understood Bella as a character. And I would have loved to have had, like, had there been even a paragraph of dialogue from her towards the ending that, because, like, what was her and Heath? I don't even understand what her relationship really was with Heath, because it just felt like it was very contradictory. Because it felt like one second it was like, oh, well, we're just friends, like at the funeral, like leaning on each other. But then they were more than that.
To her.
Well,
Yeah,
and I think
but-
they had established this relationship, this connection, because Garrett had left. They were all they had. All they had was each other, and so they established this. They like leaned on each other, and I think they were each other's like emotional.
Yeah, definitely.
I also just
know?
have so many questions, like, that I was thinking we'd get answered. Like, when Bella and Heath first kind of got together, I would have loved to know, not like even the specifics of how that went down, but there were just so many questions I ended up having in this book, and I kept thinking I was going to get answers, and then I was just left a little more unsure.
I almost wish we would have had some type of dialogue from Bella during the interviews. I feel like that would have given us a little bit more insight, even in the last portion, or even not throughout the entire book, but towards the end. I think it would have given us a lot of clarity. I honestly feel like the book probably could have benefited from maybe being like 20, 30 pages longer and given us a little bit more explanation, given us a little more. With how fast I read the book and how fast-paced it was, I wouldn't have minded if there was an additional 30 pages to kind of clarify some things and have important conversations, because there was no conversation being had about anything.
No.
And even I saw a Fable review where someone wished that when Kat and Heath saw each other again after all that time, there would have been more of a reunion.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly kind of agree with that. But also, a part of me feels like that was very true to how it would be in real life. If you hadn't seen someone for that long, it would be kind of just like a...
Yeah.
Like
it's a awkward.
Yeah,
it's an
yeah.
awkward
It wouldn't have been this epic reunion type thing.
skating towards each other, embracing. Yeah. No, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I also it's so crazy because I thought when Kat was noticing these things about Bella, I thought she was getting sick from the same thing her mom had.
Me too, for a
And
second.
then when she announced she was pregnant, I was like, that it threw me through such a loop. Anyways. Also about their mom. Remind me her name.
Sheila?
Mhm.
I knew she was behind everything the entire time. Even Heath going to Russia.
Okay, I did not see that.
I knew it from the very beginning. I was like, she's a master manipulator, and I knew it the entire time. I didn't know where he was, but I knew that she knew, because they kept mentioning so many times that she knows everything, and so I was like, she knows where he's at, and
Yeah, she was running the show.
yeah, she was running the entire thing. So I was going to mention this before. There is a TV show that is almost exactly like this book.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, it's
What's it
called
called?
Spinning Out.
Oh.
The thing that sucks though is they stopped doing it. But it's literally almost like the exact story, except for the connection with Heath. It's about this girl. She, loves ice skating. Finds a partner that's very wealthy, and they compete, and it's very messy.
Have you guys ever seen I, Tonya?
No.
I actually really want to watch it after reading this book. I don't know for sure. It's based on, is it Tonya Harding?
Yeah.
The famous ice skater. I really want to watch it now. It has Margot Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
It also has Sebastian Stan. So
Yeah, how have you not seen that?
I don't know. I just feel like I'm entering this weird figure skating era.
You'll have to let me know if it's more about the trial or more about like actual skating.
Okay.
Because I feel like the reason why I haven't watched it because I feel like it's more on the trial.
I'll let you know.
Spectrum.
I'll watch it. I'll convince Kyle we need to watch it. Honestly, as far as the book as a whole, kind of circling back, the ending honestly was my least favorite part. Other than that, I really honestly read the book so fast. I was invested. It was fun. It was different. Loved the drama. Loved the toxicity. The ending for me was my least favorite part.
I agree. Maybe you guys feel differently than the way I do. My also least favorite part is when they kind of went off the deep end. Because as an athlete, that is just like the exact opposite of like everything I believe when it comes to like sports. It just showed to me, I feel like that was a little contradicting too, because I feel like that showed that she wasn't actually as dedicated as she thought she was.
Oh, with them like doing all the photo shoots.
Like, I
and press stuff.
understand trying to like build up the hype, but I feel like you can also do that while still being dedicated.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. And they were still very dedicated, but I was like, I feel, and that's what made them popular, is because they were like very scandalous and like not a typical athlete. I get that, but I kind of hated it at the same time.
I kind of felt like it was a control thing a little bit for them. Like they didn't have control over anything, and so they took it to the opposite extreme.
Like they could kind of control their own.
Yeah, they could control the narrative, and they tried to control the things that they could by acting out and being a little wild.
Yeah,
but yeah,
Which I still felt like, to me, felt like it wasn't Heath's character. But then I have to remind myself, I'm like, he was doing everything he could to keep her. I don't know.
Yeah,
my thoughts are all over the place.
Yeah, no, same. That's why I like hate it. But then also towards the end, I was like, Heath doing that stuff with Bella felt just like very out of character. And also Bella just straight up lying, even though she was like, just tell me straight up, like, what's going on? And she's like, nothing's happening, but I'm gonna get pregnant in a few months.
Absolutely. Genuinely, you guys, once the pregnancy happened, I was like, oh, dang, this isn't going to be 5 stars.
I kind of anticipated that happening, but I thought it was going to happen earlier in the book. So then I kind of like let go of that idea at some point, and then I was like, okay. I had like the littlest inkling when they were like, oh, we're living together. But I'm like, no, she's not going to throw this at us at like the very end of the book. Alas.
She did.
She did
She did
do that.
Very, I don't know, just the most interesting dynamic ever in a book.
Oh, sorry. Did you guys want to finish your thoughts on that? I just had another dislike.
The only thing I was going to say is on the dynamic, I always tend to really like books when the characters are extremely unlikable for some reason. I think there's something really special and really cool about a writer who can take these characters and just make you absolutely hate them, but then you still finish the book. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it takes some talent to do that, because literally I hated everyone but Garrett. And at one point I loved Ellis, and then I hated him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing, this is just me thinking about things sometimes a little too hard and a little too literally. But I kept asking myself, when it came to the money portion of things, I had so many questions about that. Because I understand that, like, they were able to get to LA with the money they won from the whatever thing, or that they saved, whatever. But I also was just sitting here thinking, I'm like, I know Sheila paid for them to go to the academy, correct? No?
Mm-mm.
They weren't.
worked.
They
yeah.
worked.
They worked. But then there were just so many things where I was like, and then Heath left, and I'm like, okay, I'm assuming Sheila, once I figured out where he was, I'm like, she paying for him to go? Did he have enough money? I don't know. The whole money aspect of it, I kept wondering how things were working with the money. And I know that I needed to just suspend reality, and maybe it made sense to you guys, but there were so many moments where I was like, okay, but where are they actually getting the money to do this? I know they were making money from winning.
I assumed that they were making money from winning and sponsorships.
Yeah, same thing, but I feel like money was a big part of it, but it was almost like,
It wasn't that it wasn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like money, it was talked about a lot, but then it also like we weren't in the know.
Yeah, I think that's why I had so many questions
Yeah.
about it. Like, I
Yeah.
kept pausing and being like,
I'm assuming Sheila paid for Heath, and at the same time when Heath left, I think Sheila then started also paying for Kat, because Kat then started living with them, right?
yeah.
So then she didn't have to pay for housing. I don't know.
Well, and I would assume that they had enough, because at that point they were pretty well known. So, I mean, think about once again, the sponsors that they were getting from people.
Well, I think because she was with Heath, Sheila then started paying for everything.
I had so many
not
questions.
with Heath, with
Garrett.
Yeah.
Then she then started paying for
Mhm.
everything because
I
she
just
was
feel like behind the scenes there had to have been so much more to all that, and I was just very curious. And also, I was surprised there weren't, correct me if I'm wrong, there weren't any like specific mentions of like sponsorships that they were getting. Like,
I mean, at one point it does
I don't know.
mention that
We don't have
literally
to keep talking about it,
every
but-
item of clothing they wore was sponsored from the
Okay.
down to their underwear.
I just know that like I was just thinking of like in Carrie Soto's back, they have like these big meetings, or like from other sports movies they see where they're like meeting with Nike, and it's like, we can offer you. I don't know. I would have loved to see kind of more of that, because
See, I disagree.
I don't know.
I think it would have taken me out.
really,
Yeah, kind of.
I
Just
feel
a
like
little
that's
bit.
very interesting to me, but I wonder
Not that
how she
that's-
would have incorporated
Yeah,
it
just
into
with the story, I think I would have
Yeah.
been like, why are we talking about this? I don't care. Get me back.
because I
to
understand that like I wanting to win, but I kind of wanted to see a little more like money hungry.
It's almost to
I don't
see how
know.
much power they truly had
Yeah,
with like big brands, because
Mhm.
you have to be pretty big to like for a company to want to sponsor you.
Yeah.
So it would have it could have been an interesting topic to see, to kind of show and explain how truly a big of like an up and coming stars they were, how much the media really wanted to track them. But I wonder if it was intentional to kind of leave brands out,
yeah.
because I think they mentioned that they were sponsored, but I don't think they mentioned anything. She had mentioned anything specifically, right?
Mm-mm.
Which it's not like
No.
I needed anything specific. I just feel like when I look overall at their success, I feel like having a little more insight into the money they were making and how that was affecting some of the decisions they were making would have been kind of cool to see. But that's more of just like my curiosity on how that
Mhm.
works in that kind of
Yeah.
world. But I mean, there's things I disliked that the characters did, but everything they did I disliked.
Yeah.
But that's why I liked it.
Mhm.
So should we get into loves?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I really actually loved the music aspect. The fact that she would name specific songs. I was reading upstairs and my husband was working out. And there were so many times I didn't have my phone upstairs for some reason. And whenever it would mention a song, I would tell my husband, hey, can you play this song? And at one point he finally was like, why am I playing all these songs? And I was saying it was in my book, whatever. And you guys, I think I mentioned this in a Goodreads update and maybe a Fable update. This has brought back my love for Dashboard Confessional. The way I have nonstop listened to it since. There's a one scene where Garrett is dancing or skating by himself to Dashboard Confessional. Made me love him even more. I just really loved the music aspect. And Reggie already touched on this, but I felt immersed in the story between she would mention the songs and the costumes. And I just think it was really immersive for me. And I would say that's probably one of my favorite things. I also actually really loved Ellis. Like, I loved him and I hated him because I loved that he gave up on skating and then started this gossip vlog. I was obsessed with
He
that.
became Gossip Girl.
Yes. And then at the end, he had this little redemption arc that I found to be cute. And I just really liked him as a character. I don't know what it was. Every time he would talk in his interviews, I loved everything he had to say. And I ate his storyline up.
Yeah, he was a fun character for sure. He brought, like, had his character not been in there, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much as I did, because there were a lot of different elements that he brought to the story. Like, him and Garrett, first of all. I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, I'm gonna be Gossip Girl, basically. And then how he, like, is loyal to everyone, but not at the same time, just made the mess even messier.
My other love is the short chapters.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a confession. I've never heard Dashboard Confessional or whatever it's called.
It's okay. You
We need to
weren't
play
alive. It's like 2000s
What's
emo rock.
the specific song that there was a few.
It's not my favorite Dashboard Confessional song.
Which one is it? Is it Hands Down?
No, it's one I'd never heard of. Michaela's too young to know who Dashboard Confessional is, but that's okay. It's emo rock.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Some of the older songs,
Taylor Swift.
well, yeah, some of the older songs in, what was it, the 90s and whatever, I did have to.
Oh, and I
look it up.
loved, like, all the. I was even looking up, like, the classical stuff that they danced to, and yeah, they did some, like, cool jazz stuff.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
I'm telling you guys, I would be so surprised, depending on how much more success this book has, because I do feel like it's had a lot of success on social media from what I've seen. I would genuinely be surprised if it doesn't get picked up for something.
It would be very, very fun.
Oh, it would be so fun.
Yeah. Did you have any loves, Michaela?
I liked how fast paced it felt, and her writing left you wanting to know what was going to happen next. And I think that was my favorite part, because I hated the characters so much, but I still had to know what was going to happen and how it was going to end. I don't know. The thing is like, it's really hard to love certain aspects of this book for me, because it's also pretty much everything I hate for books. Miscommunication, cheating, not that they were necessarily cheating, but lying, like manipulating, fake friendships, like fake being nice to people. Like, I wouldn't survive in that kind of space. My forte is just like put your head down and go to work and like ignore everything else, but I feel like they played into everything, played into the fake relationships. Anyways, that was kind of a rampage, but I don't know. I honestly, genuinely, the ice skating portion was my absolute favorite part. I have been obsessed with these couples on social media ice skating, and it was like in 2022, 24 that I was heavily invested in these ice skating couples and their drama, and it just spiked it for me. And so it was fun to kind of revisit like my saved ice skating TikToks where I'm like, I am not an ice skater, but I have all these ice skating TikToks saved. That was probably my favorite part, and I think it just kind of brought me back to that time in my life where I was invested
Fangirling over
invested in the drama. So
yeah,
it makes you wonder. I mean, based on your research, was it pretty close to what this? Do you think ice skating is as drama filled as this book makes it seem?
I think it's exaggerated a little bit in this book, but I think it is like
Catty.
yeah,
Mhm.
pretty
Yeah.
catty, and I think it does. I know there's quite a few ice skaters from different countries that know about each other, compete against each other, and really hate each other.
Yeah.
And I think also when you're an ice skater with a partner, I think a lot of people really struggle separating feelings, and I think it kind of explains that in a good way from what I can see on the outside. Obviously, I'm not in or the know with these ice skating couples, but just yeah, I think
Sorry.
no,
finish your
I
thought.
think it just kind of showed a little bit of insight. Obviously, I think she had to exaggerate some things to make it more entertaining, but I think it was pretty accurate from what I know.
Yeah. It makes me wonder the research that she had to do for this book.
Yeah.
I want to go find like an interview or something.
I
I'm
actually
sure she's
haven't
talked
pulled
about
up.
it. Oh, really?
Okay, yes. So, in case you guys didn't know, this is from Layne. She said, Kat is very much based on Katharina Witt, the German skater who I grew up watching and have always been obsessed with. She's just so bold and sexy. The Lins were inspired partially by the... I'm going to butcher the last name. I'm so sorry. The Lins were inspired partially by the Shibutani siblings who are just so sweet. But they're not as calculating as Bella is. So yeah, they were inspired
cool.
by like figure skaters. And also she kind of, at the beginning of this interview with Variety, we should link it when this episode comes out, she kind of had said that this book wasn't like a passion project for her, but it was like a culmination of all the things she's obsessed with.
Mm.
Cool.
So, which I think is
Okay.
kind of
Yeah, because I was talking to my husband about it. He didn't read the book, but I was telling him my thoughts since I was like sitting next to him the entire time I was reading this book. And it was cool to see, like, he kept asking me, like, oh, was she a figure skater? Whatever. And I meant to like do some research, so I'm glad you had some like stuff on that. So yeah, that's really cool. I have a specific moment that I am realizing that I loved. And I want to know how much you guys loved it. I loved him running out on the ice and taking her off of the rink and just carrying her. And she's completely out of it. And she wakes up in the hospital. And he's there and she's like, what happened? And he's like, I don't know. And she has that realization where she's like, you literally didn't compete. Like that to me, I was like, yes, that book needed a moment like that. And I ate it up. I loved it so much.
But also then it made me hate Kat more.
Yeah.
Because Heath literally did anything for her and she just was not.
Yeah.
She was not on the same page.
Yeah, I feel like that scene, it was great while reading it, but I feel like later it got very tainted. Because I'm also like, how can Bella forgive him?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I don't know. That's why I think it kind of got like, everything kind of like leading up to it kind of got tainted because I was like, I just straight up don't understand the relationship / dynamic all of these two have, all three of them have, because I'm like, Bella literally didn't get to compete because he chose Kat over Bella pretty much. But then they had a child together.
Yeah. It was hard because I didn't know who I was rooting for the entire time I was reading this book. I didn't know who to feel bad for while I was reading this book. But I think that's why I loved it, is because it just kept me guessing and it kept me I loved being so infuriated.
Yeah.
With how much I loved was on the edge of my seat. It just worked for me. So
I think the only person I felt bad for was Garrett.
Me too.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, there would be times where I'd feel bad for Kat, and then I'd
Yeah.
be like, wait, but then I remember what she would do to Bella and Heath, and then I'd feel bad for Bella, and then I would just remember what they did to each other, and I was like, you guys all suck.
Yeah.
You know?
They were all pretty horrible.
I will say, I did actually like the ending where Bella kind of found her place in the figure skating community. Obviously, she was a great skater, but I really did enjoy seeing her thrive as a coach, and just this. It was a tiny little blip in a paragraph where Kat talked about how she was watching Bella in the stands when her skaters were skating and she was just jumping up and down and just smiling ear to ear. And that made me really happy to see her just figure out what she was passionate about without her mom. Do you guys have any other likes? Because I have something that I want to say about how I wish it would have ended.
Oh, I just had one last one I was going to say briefly.
Okay.
I will say I really loved where Heath and Kat came from. Like, seeing how their relationship began was really cool to me. And we haven't talked anything about, like, her brother and everything, which that was just wild. I don't even feel like I need to comment too much on that. That was just sad and wild. But it was kind of giving, like, It Ends With Us vibes a little bit in the beginning with their young kind of love and, like, taking care of each other. But I think one thing that would be so fun to see with this put into a show and stuff is more of that, like, beginning, like, awkward. I don't know. I just seeing them skate together for the first time. I just felt like I felt so much during those chapters when we were learning about where they started. I loved that so much because I feel like it takes true talent and love for him to be sitting and watching her and then to learn to skate with her. I just thought that was, like, so special.
Yeah.
So it sucked to see how everything else just kind of turned to crap. But I did like the beginning of their story, at least. So
yeah, it is.
Anyways,
sweet.
How did you think
really
it should have
sweet.
ended?
Okay, I saw someone in Fable say that they thought the book would have had more of an impact on them if the ending would have been sad. And honestly, you guys, I know this is going to be kind of crazy, but a part of me wishes, you know, when Heath is coughing up blood, I thought maybe he was going to die.
Yeah, same.
Honestly, this is crazy. Kind of wish he would have. Same.
Yeah.
I feel like the ending of the book would have made a little bit more sense. You know, Heath dies, and then you see Bella and Kat grow their friendship, and this village is helping raise their child. I just think that would have
and
honestly made the book a 5-star read for me.
Yeah, for
the guilt that she would have had, both of them.
I think
would
that would
have
have
had
made it a 5-star read.
Yeah.
I don't want a happy ending. I want a sad ending.
Well, I feel like Kat would have just guilt in the sense of, like, she put him through so much and he did so much for her, just for it to end in him. Yeah.
I don't know. For
what's
some reason.
her freaking bucket? I wanted her
Franny.
Franny.
Freaking Franny.
Franny. You little loser.
Yeah.
You can't win, so you have to poison them?
Yeah, that was a low.
Yeah.
Major low.
Yeah.
And putting thorns? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, I did the biggest eye roll of my life.
That's the pettiest loser I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh, but
she
got a gold medal, guys.
Yeah.
She ended up getting a gold medal by default.
Meanwhile, I loved that it was like Bella was trying to encourage things, at least in the beginning, to make it. She wanted them to do good to make her do better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
That might be a hot take, but for some reason
No,
I just think it would
I'm here for that.
Would have made it a 5-star read.
Poor Heath.
Nonetheless, the book was still good.
I saw that someone was going to. I mean, what's her bucket died?
Yeah.
Sheila.
Yeah.
But this was
that was really something.
Really something. All right.
Okay, guys, we going into our fan cast?
I'm excited.
I have some news. In this Variety article, she says that she's staying tight-lipped about any details, but she does confirm it has been optioned. A showrunner is attached and they are shopping it to streamers.
Ooh.
So the chances of, well, it's either hit or miss, you know, sometimes it's been picked up and then nothing ever happens. But it's been picked up and hopefully it will come to fruition. She also says she has someone picked for Heath for a fan cast.
Really?
Yeah.
Who does she say?
Yeah, I want to hear.
She says, I don't know who this person is. Brandon Perea? She says, I think he would be perfect. He has a background in jam skating, which would translate on the ice. This actor was in The OA and Twisters.
Ooh.
I don't know what he looks like. I don't know
He's
who he
handsome.
is.
He's older than I.
The thing that's hard is you have to like. There's like a jump.
Yeah. Okay.
It was
so
really hard for me to fan cast, and honestly,
Yeah.
my fan casts suck.
I
sorry.
like. Okay. My mindset was I casted people with the thought that it would stay the same actors and actresses. So like maybe later 20s or mid 20s because they could pass as younger, but they could also pass as older.
Who'd you guys cast
Let's start
as
with
he?
Kat.
Oh,
We're gonna do Kat. Kat. Let's do Kat.
I had the hardest time picturing her for some reason, so I don't have one for her.
Guys, I have one for Kat, but she's too old.
Who?
Heather Morris.
Who's that?
Who is that?
She's on Glee. The blonde dancer from Glee.
Oh, how old is she? Like
Shut
she's
up.
Pretty
40?
old. She's pretty old, but I'm like, if she from when the time
When
she was in
Glee.
because she's a dancer,
Mhm.
translate to ice skating.
This
I
girl?
just think, yeah, she should see her dance. She's an incredible dancer.
She is 38.
All the people I casted are too old. It was too hard for me to find people who were young.
Well,
Okay.
I didn't cast anyone for Kat. I thought I did, but I must have not written it down. And
Here's my
remembered,
other one that I
but-
had. She was on Dancing with the Stars. And this is the only reason I picked her. Well, not the only reason. She was on Dancing with the Stars. I watched a clip of her and she was fine. Willow Shields. She is, oh my gosh, Katniss's sister in Hunger Games.
Oh,
What is her name in Hunger Games?
Prim.
Prim.
Primrose
Yeah, she's
Everdeen.
Prim in Hunger Games. So she has a little bit of a
Yeah.
dance
She
background.
literally looks
I did
like
have
an ice
someone-
skater.
I did
Oh.
have someone in my mind.
No, I'm talking like an actual like partner
Oh.
ice skater.
Hey, then it will be great.
but the rusher is wow.
Is she Russian?
Yeah, she's Russian.
Yeah.
Okay, I've thought of one person. I don't know necessarily if I can see her as an ice skater or a dancer. But I think acting wise, I feel like she's on the rise. And she came to my mind, not saying this is maybe who I would cast, but is Maisie Stella.
I don't know who that is either.
She's Lennon Stella's little sister. She was
yeah?
on Nashville. I just feel like her acting, I've been seeing clips of some of her latest acting. She just won a
Yeah.
award for something. Anyways, I just feel like she's kind of given her 110% to everything that she's been doing recently. And I can see her like fully immersing herself
Mhm.
to become a skater and a dancer.
You guys
But-
need to watch what Spin Out because the actors both aren't ice skaters, but they have stunt doubles. They're actually like it's done really well. I don't know how they do it,
I don't know either.
Yeah.
but I was trying to like watch a behind the scenes of it, and it's crazy because they still like have them on the ice, but any like technical tricks and stuff, they have the stunt doubles do it, but they
Mhm.
look identical. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's kind of like Brad Pitt and his stunt double. Is it Brad Pitt that has his stunt double? There's a really famous actor that his stunt double literally looks just like him. Can't remember who it is. Tom Cruise? No. Tom Cruise does his own stunts.
Yeah, he does.
I like those. She was so hard for me to picture.
Yeah, I had a hard time picturing her too.
Yeah.
I will say I have someone for Heath.
Okay.
All right.
Matthew Broom.
Who is
I
that?
don't know who that
My
is.
Fault London.
Oh.
He has dance experience.
Okay.
He's
And
hot.
he has like a musical theater background. I feel like he kind of fits the look of him. He's
Okay.
24. He's
I like
really
that.
muscly. I feel like knowing he has a musical theater background, he would crush it.
I like that.
So
he's something. Literally though, the funny thing is I watched My Fault London, and then I was getting, of course, TikToks,
Mhm.
compilations of him. I have watched The Buccaneers, and I didn't even realize they were the same actor in Buccaneers
Oh, I
and
haven't
My
seen that.
Fault London. It's kind of like
Doesn't he have blonde hair in My Fault London?
It's like frosted.
Yeah.
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 But in the Buccaneers, he has like a
Goatee.
goatee like stash thing because they're kind of like, it's like Regency times.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he can do it all. He can really do complete opposite roles.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a great option.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna share mine. So that was great.
Wait,
No,
I
still
wanna know
share it.
yours.
I mean, it's only because everybody's talking about him. He was in my mind. So forget
Josh?
Yeah,
Houston?
Josh guy, Houston, whatever.
I thought about him actually
Oh,
because of
yeah.
the way he looks, but
Yeah.
then, and he kind of gives that like, he could be really
He
sweet
just gives a vibe.
and tend to your wounds and carry you off the ice, but like,
I like the other guy better.
you know.
Matthew Broom.
But I was looking into these people to see if they have any sort of musical background. Not that it matters, but like, I feel like it's big bonus points if you have like ballet experience or
for sure.
musical theater
Yeah.
experience. So that's why I casted that one guy. But I definitely thought of Josh too. I don't feel like that's bad. The Book Talk girlies love
They
him.
love
so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, should we do Sheila?
Mine's the same.
Shut up, really?
Yep.
Okay,
Oh,
you
thought
say
of
it.
her.
Gemma Chan.
she's stunning.
She is.
Oh.
She's in Eternals,
Yes.
Crazy Rich
Yes.
Asians.
Yeah, I was thinking of her in Crazy Rich Asians, and I was like, she gives
Yeah.
the vibe. But you want to know who I thought of?
Michelle Yo.
Miss Casey from Severance.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know how you say her name.
I don't know either.
But if you watch Severance, you know who I'm talking about. Maybe we'll make Michaela add in a photo of her. She just has like this
She's kind of
look that
she could
I
be
can
harsh.
like I just imagine her sitting, and I was picturing her while I was reading the book too. She's like sitting there on the ice, just in the stands, just staring at you.
Yeah.
I can see her just being so cold, but then a really beautiful
Yeah.
figure skater.
I like it.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I like it a lot.
Who do you guys have for Garrett?
Mine, he's old.
I couldn't find
and
anybody
I
young.
couldn't find anyone
either.
within the right.
Charles
age.
Melton.
Okay, I was seeing people say the same thing.
He's from like Riverdale.
Yeah.
He's not my favorite, but
I feel like
he's tall, and Garrett's supposed to be very tall. And I don't know. It was hard. I couldn't really find anyone that I loved.
I have Justin H. Min. If you have seen
he's cute.
Umbrella Academy
Mm-hmm.
on Netflix, he's in on Umbrella Academy.
Oh,
Oh yeah, he's cute.
what character does he play in Umbrella Academy?
The brother that's like dead.
Oh, the ghost guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's not a spoiler, P.S.
Yeah.
guys.
No, it's not.
It's you know it from the beginning.
You know
Yeah.
from the beginning.
I will say for Bella, I picked, is it Lana or Lana Condor from All the Boys I Loved Before?
I thought about that.
She has ballet experience.
Oh, she does?
Yes. But
Okay.
see, I think that like you put her in, like, I feel like she could pass as young, but then also,
I
You
feel
know
like
what I
she
mean?
could also pass as a twin to the guy I cast, kind of.
yeah.
Who did you do? Michaela, who did you do?
I did Alex Liu.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know. She just looks stunning and looks like she could
She
be
is
like a
beautiful.
Ooh.
serious.
She's beautiful.
Okay, I cast, I'm going to butcher her name. I'm so sorry. So sorry. So sorry. Shioli Kutsana. She plays Yukio in Deadpool.
I haven't seen Deadpool.
I was trying to cast people that I've seen movies that they were in, other than just like random people I didn't know. Yeah, she was also in that I think she was in that Parasite movie that was all over social media at
yeah.
one point. Anyways, I've seen Deadpool and she's in Deadpool, so I cast her. I feel like she could work it. She could work it.
Let me work it. I love the dedication to finding ballet background.
I'm here for
You
it.
know, my favorite thing about actors, though, is when they start out not having any background.
Yes.
And they literally dedicate like years of their lives to nail a role.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually my favorite thing.
Oh, I
ever.
love it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my favorite thing.
It's really cool.
I think it's so cool. I mean, they do get paid lots of money to do that. It's not like it's just like,
Right, but still.
anyways.
I will say, depending on the age of everyone overall that they could cast, a part of me, he is too old. but a part of me would love to see Jonathan Bailey be Ellis.
Oh my gosh, I'd be so here for that.
Because
That would be so
he
good.
is he's a ballerina and he's gay and he's so talented, and I'd love to see him in that kind of a role where he's kind of playing this like sassy figure skater.
I would love to see him as Ellis. Yeah.
But I think he's too old. But then some of the people we talked about are still a little too old. But in a perfect world, maybe 10 years ago, I don't know.
You know what voice Ellis sounded like on the audiobook was Thai French.
Oh my
gosh, you're right.
Cast Thai French.
It's Thai French.
I actually love that too.
That's who I pictured. I don't know
I
why.
love that. I love it.
I don't know why.
I love it.
I could
The
see it.
sassiness.
Yeah, the sassiness. I could see it. I don't know if he is coordinated, but the thing is I don't feel like, at least for the side characters, they need to have any sort of dance background, because it's not like you really ever see
just like
them dancing.
Yeah.
Maybe on the ice they're having a conversation, but I feel like it never mentions like them competing. If anything, they'll just throw a stunt double.
I mean, it kind of does, but I don't feel like they're ever sitting there watching them. It mentions like so-and-so's performing before us, or so-and-so did a performance to this, whatever, or like their costuming. It doesn't really talk about their performances. So, yeah.
Anyways,
there you have it, guys.
There we have it. And we have decided that we're going to start announcing our book club books at the end of the episode. Just end things on a bang. So for March, our book club book is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang.
I'm actually so excited.
I am excited.
I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited.
Me too.
Why are you guys nervous?
I've heard a lot about this book, and I am trying not to have too high of expectations.
I'm nervous because the thought of like having to relearn a new fantasy world just sounds really exhausting to me right now for some reason.
I get that.
And I feel like the Poppy War is going to be one where it's going to take me a second to get into.
Yeah.
That's what I'm anticipating. But I feel like once I'm into it,
I've also just heard so many people cry, and I'm like, I don't want to set myself up for too high of expectations of it emotionally wrecking me.
I'm also curious. I'm curious to see whether or not we like the female main character.
I am excited to be in a book with that kind of culture.
Yeah.
Because it's actually one of my favorites. And maybe I'm setting myself up for failure, but I loved Shogun so much. And so I'm excited to kind of like get something maybe that could be similar, like politically wise. But I don't know. I'm trying literally anytime people I'm scrolling past it, because I know a lot of people really like it, but I don't want to go into it having expectations of like I'm going to feel a certain way, because it really, really messes my reading experience up. And this year or the past few months, I feel like has been this growing where I'm like, I need to just not have expectations to feel similar as other people have, because it is it's a 3-book series. It's a trilogy. It is high fantasy.
It's all on Kindle Unlimited. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free.
Yep.
And if not, you can go buy a really cool special edition.
Kennedy's got it, and it's beautiful.
It is really beautiful. It is beautiful.
That'll be great.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, tune in for the Poppy War the first week in April. And if you're skipping, no stress. We'll see you for the next book club book. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.